Hey guys, and welcome to Pheas Airsoft, where today we're going back to the NAM and we're going to unbox this CYMA CM.009 M16 VN. So I just want to make a note on safety. Whether I'm disassembling, unboxing, chronoing, whatever it is I'm doing, I always make sure I'm in a completely safe environment. So that means most of my videos I'm always wearing eye protection just to make sure that my eyesight stays safe. Before I do that, I always make sure that there's no ammunition in any of the mags or in the gun itself. I make sure that the mags are unloaded and unwound to make sure that nothing can happen with that. Obviously, if I'm chronoing, then I have absolutely definitely got my eye protection on to protect myself. I even make sure that my batteries are removed and out of the way so that I know I'm in the safe environment. I also make sure that there's nobody else around as well either, so I'm always in a safest possible environment. If you are working with airsoft stuff, please make sure you do the same. Hi guys, and welcome back. If you do enjoy my content today, please do like and subscribe because you'll be really helping me out. So today we've got the third unboxing from the July Taiwan Gun orders, and this one is the CM.009C variant, or the M16 VN. So you guys voted and picked this was the third one in the orders of what was going to get unboxed next. So the box is, as we've come to expect from CYMA in most cases, it's just a blue and black box with no real branding on, other than a label just indicating what it is, and a sticker on one end. There it is. Look at that bob by on there. So we're going to get straight out of this and into the actual contents. So first of all, we've got a little generic manual that's aimed at any generic M4 or AR platform that they build, all in English, nothing too exciting, and an exploded diagram showing you or indicating the exploded part of how things go together. Get rid of that. Next thing, general Taiwan Gun safety notice and a target. Then we've got our chrono sheet. This has been downgraded to pretty much spot on 350 FPS. So you've got 349, 348, 349, 348, 349. So pretty consistent as well. So thank you to Taiwan Gun for doing that. I will leave a link in the description below to this particular model that we've got here. And there she is now. First thing I'm going to say is it's a big gun. It is very long. Not quite M14 long, but definitely long. So in this box, slide that along, got yourself a little charger in there, which is obviously no good to me in the UK because we don't use a 2-pin system. We've then got a Dean's to Mini Tamiya connector, which is good. If you are going to use a battery, make sure that the colour coordination is matching between your battery's red wire, this red terminal and this red terminal, because if it's cross-wired, you're probably going to burn something out or set something on fire, like your battery, possibly motor might suffer, the MOSFET might take it. So please be careful if you're using these and your batteries, and make sure that the polarities are all wired up, matching accordingly. But that's nice that they've put that in there because they understand a lot of people may not have a Dean's battery. We get a stubby little mag in there, the tiny little M4 mag or AR mag. That is the correct style or type of mag that came with the actual real steel M16 VN. Put that over there. We've then got an Allen key, which I'm guessing is possibly for the motor adjustment. We'll check that in a moment. We've got a 9.6 volt 1200 milliamp battery. And then here she is, the piece de resistance. Whoa. There she is. What an absolute beauty that is. It looks gorgeous. I do like NAM stuff, and I've done many a NAM loadout in my many years of airsofting, and that, you know, the best option used to be sort of like the GMP one was more or less the best one because it had the correct markings on, had the correct look generally, and stuff. But that is actually really, really, really nice. So we'll take a look from the front. So you've got a nice metal tulip style flash hider, a little 3-pronged, which I do like the style of these, and maybe they should bring these back because they're quite different looking. Come to your front triangle sight, which is adjustable like most of them are. You can twist that to adjust it up and down. You've then got the correct styled triangle foregrip, which somebody did ask about the creak in this. So I'm going to grab it and put in an awful lot of force in that. There's very, very little movement at all, and pretty much no sound coming from that. A little bit there, and that's with some real force going into it. So I'm pretty happy with that. A good friend of mine used to have one of the Tokyo Marui M16s, the all plastic one, and that used to creak horrifically. It was awful. But that, I'm happy to report, is really, really solid. Onto the receiver then, full metal receiver you've got in there. Obviously no trademarks, but I'm pretty sure, looking at the pictures online, it's the correct size and shape. You've got the integrated carry handle, you've got the correct, I want to say forward assist, I can never remember if that's the forward assist. You've got the bolt release in the right place. I'm pretty sure it is a working bolt release as well to lock the window open for your hop unit. You've got a one-piece metal M4 hop unit in there. Dust cover is metal as well. They've gone, all out on the metal. Even the pistol grip, I believe, is the correct styling. The Allen key is not for the motor adjustment, so I'm not actually sure what the Allen key is for at the moment, but we'll check that out shortly. Moving on to the stock, then you've got the solid stock, which is where your battery goes, and you've got the correct butt pad as well. Not sure about the sling loop, if that's the correct one or not, but in general it is a beautiful looking piece of kit. Now internally, it's like a lot of their ARs are now. It's got the tight ball barrel, the 6.03, which is something that a lot of us will do straight out of the box. First thing we'll do is rip out the barrel and the hop rubber and replace those with an uprated one. Now I can say out the box, especially with these better barrels now, they are shooting beautifully, and I would actually advise that you go and shoot it first, give it a good day's play before you actually try and change it out, just to see how good they actually are on standard. Unless you're wanting to run the higher FPS, maybe you want to DMR it in some way, or maybe your country allows higher FPS, then possibly you might want to change at least the hot rubber to compensate for that. It's got the high-speed motor in it, the MOSFET in it. I even believe it's got the quick change spring system in the back, which we'll find out at the end of this week in the disassembly, which will come on Friday. All in all, that is, I'll do the same test for the stock as I did for the handguard. With quite a bit of force. There's a 1 or 2 mil of movement side to side, but there's no creaking in it at all. It feels absolutely rock solid. So I really enjoy that. Although I'm a big fan of, although I'm a big fan of AK platforms, this is really working for me again, and almost to the point where the XM has really caught my attention, and that might stay a little bit. So included then, obviously, you get your little metal high cap, and it is a high cap, unfortunately, with a winding keyhole in the side. And it's a little, I think it's about 150 round high cap, which is perfectly fine for a little bit of plinking, but in a game it's probably not going to last you an awful lot. But then again, a lot of people, and myself included, run mid caps of usually between 120 and 150 rounds, so it's probably no different, apart from the mid caps don't have the rattle. The battery then, we'll get this charged up, we'll cut to some range testing and rate of fire tests, and then we'll come back and have a look at how it actually sounds with those batteries in. Original battery. About 15 and a half. About 12, just short of 13. So, quite interesting actually, the rate of fire test there, that we started with the original battery, which is the 9.6 volt, and that was actually putting out a better rate of fire, sort of 15 towards 16. It was putting out a better rate of fire than the 7.4 volt LiPo was, which I was actually quite surprised and impressed with that. But then with it being a 9.6, it's obviously a bit better battery. The difference here is going to be that I would have expected that the LiPo will run the gun for significantly longer, probably the full day and then some. These used to be referred to as like a weekender battery sort of thing, because they would generally run your gun all weekend. And having done 24-hour Sterling events and things, I can say, I've run one of these in my gun all weekend and not had a single issue, not had to recharge or anything. With this only being 1200 milliamps, you're definitely going to need two, particularly if you're trigger happy, and Pheas is very, very, very trigger happy. But it's all good. Obviously the 11.1 was obviously the sort of 20 rounds a second sort of mark, and that's pretty much what we expected. If you change that out for a better high-speed motor, your GMPs, your ASG Ultimates, that kind of thing, even your SHS high-speed, that's going to really shoot up quite a bit there, and make a real difference. What I will say is the motor adjustment does need some work, because it just sounded a little bit screechy whilst it was in there, so it wasn't the best. In terms of the range then, and accuracy, I know it's a little bit better that I can show you it being shot, but it's not exactly mega easy to see where it's falling. But I did go out and measure to where it was going to. I had somebody sort of come out and stand where they were dropping, and you're looking at pretty much on the nose of 40 meters out of this on a 0.25 gram BB, because that's what people told me that they generally shoot. So that's what I thought I'd give you the range check on, is a 0.25 gram BB. So I was really happy with that it was hitting out that far, and that was just brand new, with no real bedding in or anything like that, just the few shots that you saw me plinking through it and setting the hop unit out there. So a big thanks again to the Creek Killer House Airsoft for letting me film on site. So the next thing I'll do then is I'll open the buttstock up, we'll drop the battery in, and we'll hear what it sounds like with those in. So flathead screwdriver then goes in the stock, in the top screw. Unfortunately, this is probably one of the bad things I've actually discovered about it, is that the battery change is not very tactical. This is not going to be a mid-firefight battery change. However, the buttstock has got so much space in there that it's really not an issue. So that's just hooked into the bottom, so make sure when you're changing the battery, you pull away from the top, up and out. And if I turn that round and point it down there, you should be able to see that is a pretty cavernous, I can get most of my hand in there, so it's pretty cavernous size in there. Might be worth wrapping your battery up in a little bit of bubble wrap or something to stop it rattling about, because it will rattle about in there because there's so much space. So first thing, we'll start with the 7.4, then we'll go to the original, then we'll do the 11.1. They've clearly upgraded the jingle on their MOSFETs there, because there's an extra little bit on there, so I'll just drop that in, and just to show you that 7.4 goes all the way in, and well in, and I can still get my hand in, there's that much room in there. So here we go then, safe, nothing, semi. It definitely is snappy on that 7.4, and it's not struggling to turn over or anything, so full auto, fairly steady. It does sound a little bit screechy. It definitely does need a little bit of fine adjustment in there. Let's see if I can get that now. That's getting better. Possibly does need, that's a little bit better than it was. Possibly does need a little bit of shimming in there, but in general that is looking really solid. So that was the 7.4, and that was sort of like the 12-13 rounds per second mark. So we'll go to the 9.6. So obviously this is the original battery included with it. So safe, nothing, semi, definitely a little bit snappier than the 7.4. Full auto, you can hear that difference in there. There is definitely that little bit snappier, obviously better than the 7.4 in there. It's just a shame that battery will not see out a full day. And last but not least then, we're going to go to the 11.1. So this gives us around 20 rounds per second on the rate of fire test. And there we go. So it's booted up, safe, nothing, semi. You can... I've barely even finished pulling the trigger and it's already completed a cycle and fired. That's really, really nice. So full auto then. Ooh, I like that. Obviously, the 11.1 was always going to do that. We'll have a look at the quality of the internals in the disassembly at the end of this week, just to see if it's up to withstanding that. But generally, CYMA are getting better and better at their build quality internally. So I dare say it possibly would stand up to that for quite some time. Uncompress the spring and disconnect that. So all in all, this M16 VN is an actually really good build, particularly if you're in that field for a VN weapon. Maybe you just like the old school stuff and you're not going to particularly do a loadout, but you like the old school stuff, then you really can't fault it at all. It's solidly built, it's great for the money. The fact that it's got so many upgrades in it that a lot of people would do, like the MOSFET, the tight ball barrel, you know, the quick change spring system alone is worth that. To access that, you're going to go down the stock there, and there is a Phillips head screw like you get down a stock tube down there. Undo that and that will release the buttstock, and then you can get into the back of the body and into the back of the gearbox. I will 100% confirm that though in my disassembly at the end of this week. So final thought from me is fantastic piece of kit. If you're in the market for a VN weapon or you're just looking for something a little bit old school, you can't fault this for the money. It is absolutely brilliant. It really, really is. A little bit disappointing that they couldn't have done something a little bit better with the stock pad for changing batteries and make it a little bit easier. But then when you've got so much room in there, it really doesn't make that much difference. So I'm going to leave the usual photos. I hope you've enjoyed that, and if you have, please do like and subscribe because you'll be really helping me out, and I will see you next time. Bye.